he died, and the widow went to a famous artist, and he said, listen, can you improvise pictures? Here's a picture of my husband. He goes, yes, we can enlarge it, no problem. But can you take the wart off of his face? No problem, you do it. Now, while you're doing it, they're not wearing derbies no more. Will you please take the derby off? No problem, you take it off. So the artist says, how do he wear his hair? He says, when you take the head off, you'll find out. That's his story. When you take the head off, you look in the underneath, you'll find out what the hell his hair was like. That's a great story. So your father bought a suit. He had to have the suit hanging on the string, on the high. They took it down for $8 worth, and you couldn't get your foot into the pant. Got to take your shoes off. And he went to school as a type like this, like Huckleberry Finn.
Your father, man, Howard.
Yeah. He wore the suit to school. They all laughed at the suit. A wool suit in summertime he wore it, with button shoes. And he made a speech and got an A. Because that didn't bother him. Here's an entertainer on the stage, and nothing bothered him. The suit for $6. My father had to come down from 8 to 6, but he had to have the suit. Now I have to tell another story about Gus. Tall, almost 7 foot tall, almost.
Tell him who Gus is.
And he picked up the old bobette that lived in Independence Boulevard with a shako on her head. And picked her up, I love you, and he kept bringing her down. When he come down, he kissed her. Put her to the floor. He loved that old bobette. I said, gee, I couldn't kiss an old lady all wrinkled up with a big shako on her head. He loved her. What are you going to do? You know why? They learned that from their mother. There she was, a lovable type. Yeah. And all the years I've been born, I never saw my father and mother hold hands or kissed. In bed, they made children. But they never exhibited. But
my grandmother was mother's mother.
Whoever she was, she had a shako on her head, like my bobette. Everybody got a fountain pen. Everybody bought my fountain pen. We said, today I'm a fountain pen. Today I'm a man. No, I'm a fountain pen today. Everybody got a fountain. That's a nice way of giving them credit. Every dance with that man was so tall, you didn't have to know, the woman didn't know how to dance, he picked her up. Now you take the woman he married, Fidela. He picked her up, he danced with her, never touched the floor. Such a great dancer.
Well, this is your brother,
Gus.
Gus. And now Mike was your brother too.
He played with saxophone.
With Benny
Who did he
Goodman.
play a saxophone
Benny
with?
Goodman.
Oh, a lot of them.
Gene Krupa?
Yes.
No, he didn't go with Benny Goodman.
They rehearsed, they
Gene
played with
Krupa.
Gene Krupa.
Gene
He
Krupa.
was not in Krupa's organization, but as children they played, and they grew up, and they remained friends throughout life.
At the Knickerbocker, who was there?
Gene Krupa.
Who came to that affair? Gene Cooper from New York.
I know.
And his wife was living in their house, and he brought them there, and they come together, and they gave him cymbals for a present. You know, he's got a drum. Now, he lived in that high-rise condominium. They got about something like 120 units, and the kid would play the drums, and he kicked them out. He had to rent a store someplace because of the drums. They vibrate the whole building.
Mike and Gus make all their money.
Booking.
They were bookies?
Later on, yeah.
So Gus was the first assistant to the richest sheriff in the United States, in Cook County, Gilbert. And he ended up on Lakeshore Drive. He had a black guy pushing him around. The richest man that got, he collected, made all the collections from the various places. And when I saw Gus one day, he was marking the sheets, the bookie joint, the sheets, you know, for the races. He was marking, he had good penmanship up there.
And Ed would come in there, and they wouldn't take his.
Eddie used to bet a little bit.
No,
he
he's too
wouldn't-
big
he
of a
wouldn't
bettor,
ta-
too big.
They wouldn't take him.
Because he was
too
too
good.
big?
Cause
No.
his cousin. And
They didn't want his money.
no.
Eddie was classified as the best handicapper on LaSalle Street. He had $1,000 to win on Ponder, and he won the Derby, and he collected $13,000. And I said, why do you gamble? Then I got to support my family.
Mike was a
They're too much-
professional musician,
Because
played
they're-
all over the country with jazz bands,
And they eat too
Saxophone and clarinet.
much.
and flute and piccolo.
No, they got drugs. And
Well,
my
yes.
sister said, get in the cigar business. And a certain guy, what was his name there?
He was a
Well-
professional musician up until World War II. When he came back from World War II, his brother Gus and Nate persuaded him to go in the cigar business, and he opened the first store in the
Revord Hotel.
the Congress Hotel, the Auditorium Hotel.
All right, I was about 12 years old, and my friend, the Behrman boy, said, how would you like to go to a burlesque cue show? I said, well, I'll go. How would you go and ask your father for money? So I said, Pa, can you give me $2? I want to go to a burlesque cue. I couldn't say burlesque show. I slapped the face. What'd you hit me for? I didn't do nothing. So I went back to my friend, what the hell is a burlesque show? He said, that's where you have naked women on the stage. I said, gee, Christ, I didn't know that. Asked my father for money. I told him the truth. Wanted to go out on a ride someplace with the car. He said, we're not going out unless you move the wood pile from here to there. The wood was very valuable because we used to sell fireworks, and we had stands, 2x4s and 4x4s. And nobody wanted to do it. Well, I never saw a wood pile go so fast with Sidney and Eddie and Matthew and I from there to there because we wanted to get that ride. So that was a good psychological thing. If you want to ride in the car, you got to move the wood pile from here to there.
Why were you moving the wood?
Because there was rotting in that spot. The kid was hollering, papers, papers. He liked his voice. That wasn't true, of course. And they put him on the stand, and he sang his repertoire. At that time, George Gibbon was on the same stage with him. And he said Sprumberry, you know, like a restaurant. Yeah. And he had white pants, and they wanted to sign him up on a circuit, your father. And my father wouldn't let him go because he'd become a bum with all those girls behind the scene. Craig could go, but not Matthew.
You don't remember the story about the turtleneck sweaters that your father bought, do you?
No, my father said that he can't afford to give each kid a pair of pants when he buys 6 pair of pants because there's 4 boys in the family. He had to wear hand-downs. I couldn't understand. He wouldn't give me a pair of 2 socks. The socks were torn in the back. He said, go to your mother, she'll darn the back. Darn, there was no socks. I get a blister.
How come Sidney never got an education?
He didn't have the ability.
What did he do?
He was out 2 years high school. He went to a business college. And when he come home to study, he set the alarm clock. When the alarm clock rings, he's done. Never finished his project. He was taking bets at the club, and they kicked him out of the business school. 7th what?
Army.
They put me there.
Were you drafted?
I have nothing to do. What?
Were you drafted?
No, I enlisted.
You enlisted?
I enlisted, yeah.
Right after
I was the last one to go. I was the last one to go in the service. Sidney was on the Yukon Road in Alaska, and Matthew was I drove my mother to see Matthew in Lompoc, California, where they make the seeds. They let all the flowers go to seed, and they package them. They don't pick the flowers. And he said, bring my car. He had a LaSalle car, and then I could go back on plane. And when I got there, he was very disturbed because the general up there, the command, if you didn't play cards with him and cater to him, he gave you the dirty jobs. And he said, I'm too good of a doctor to have to do this short arm inspections. You know what that is. So he says, you're too good for this group? Yeah. Then you go to the paratroopers. Say, I'll take that rather than stay here. And
Whenever we touch a George, we all had to go in the bathroom first, wash our hands. We could not push the chairs back. They had to be away from the wall. And it washed. If any of us had to go into the washroom, and we were all growing up, he would be outside the door, and he would say, did you wash your hands? If you didn't, you had to go back in. Remember, Joe?
And the Clares all came to visit because they were poor, they were hungry too. And she had one chicken in the pot, and he made it stretch.
Sam
and they lived on Roosevelt Road. I went to visit them. Boy, I want to tell you, that's no air conditioning, and they lived upstairs on Roosevelt Road, right off of Independence Boulevard. Her father moved his drugstore about 20 times, and he went to 20 different schools.
40.
Before they could get familiar with the class and the book, they were transferred again, because if he didn't make a go in a week or 2, out he would go and break the leads and go someplace else.
Joe, tell about all the stores. I just remembered. I forgot.
And the
My
man
father
was
had
never
that big
licensed to be
drugstore
a
down the
pharmacist.
street.
He worked under somebody else's license. Park, I took Rosalind, Charlotte, Lily, and I said, let's play the whip. He said, what is that? I hold hands, I'll show what it is. And I pull them real fast, they're running with, and I stopped, and I pull them, and somebody, I forgot who was on the end, they fell off, and they don't want to play the whip anymore. The whip we played, the whip. Just young girls, all young kids. Then they ran a very big party when they lived on Foster Avenue across from Foster's Beach. That's Lakeshore Drive. Oh, they got elegant. They had a big balcony porch up there, and they had a big party. And Melvin and Adeline and I, we took a streetcar, because we had no cars in those days, to get to Foster Avenue at that party. And some guy made a pass at Adeline, and boy, Melvin was mad. It was very, it's like you loved your wife, he loved that Adeline. But she was the type of a person that would lead him on. I thought there'd be a fist fight at her house. My mother had a fur store, and she was very independent. So independent that she wouldn't take anything from her husband. Because she made her own furs, stretched them on the boards. And my mother came in one day to visit, and one of the local Forest Park people were there, and she says, I want a Persian named coat. So my mother said, I bought this coat from Mrs. Goodman to try to help promote the sale. And Mrs. Goodman says, don't have to lie in my store, you bought it someplace else, that's not my coat. Because she's a very outspoken person.
Sure, sure.
Now when the grandmother died, Frances wanted to get some little thing, she had to sign a paper, sign a waive all her rights. Kate was living, and Margaret, and Jack, and Al. So he said, I'll sign anything you want, but I want one of Ma's coats that were all prepared. So Kate sent the coat over to the little store, and things were depression years. She had no stock, no inventory. And she put her hand, and she signed all the papers, and put her hand in the pocket, and it says, when you wear this coat, I hope you break your neck. And she took the coat to the rabbi and says, Rabbi, should I wear this coat? They cursed this coat. They wouldn't say word with the best of health. Max, he was a fur trapper. He bought furs. That's how she got into be a furrier.
Did you know
He
that?
bought furs, yeah. He used to he'd treat them. I don't know, he put salt on the leather, and then he had to skin them and stuff, and he would sell them. And Kate was going to some kind of a party, and she had a chiffon dress. And it was stove heat in those days. Her dress caught on fire.
How did you know they were anti-Semitic in Forest Park?
Because every time I came home, they would try to, German kids there would try to corner me. I went home with the Italians, and they wouldn't touch us. They were afraid of the Italians. But only 5 Jewish families in this town.
Who were they?
Abe Lipschutz came in with his son. And he was a partner to Maury Melman, that's Eb's brother and father-in-law. And he said they called my son a dirty Jew, and I can't bring my kid up in this neighborhood. And he went and moved to Austin. Well, we stayed there. This is our home. You couldn't chase us out.
They never beat you up, though.
Oh, I had a couple fights.
Yes, they did.
I was willing to fight man to man, but I couldn't fight the whole school. So Rose got a job, and she had one job at Sears Roebuck. So they had a suggestion box. If we take your suggestion, you'll get $10. So I said, Rose, what did you put in that box? He says, well, the people are using paper clips and staples. I said they should go back to the pin, straight pin, and put the papers and pin them together so they won't come apart. I said, Rose, this is modern times. They never had a stapler when they used the pin. You get stuck with a pin. Did you get the $10 or they fired her? They fired her on her job.
Here, story.
Yeah, tell them the story.
A guy come in the store and wants to get a shirt, black shirt. My mother's a Tyvolo. He said, and he grabbed the shirt and ran outside, and my father went after him. And my mother grabbed the gun and went after her. And they said, lynch the Sheeny, lynch the Sheeny. She said, if you touch a hair on his head, I'll blow you. And the police took the gun away.
The story. Les Smith was the village attorney and one of the friends of Cortina, the chief, and he bought a piece of property and they're going to build a high-rise down the street. And they were demolishing this house, and $100 bills started flying around. They were hidden in the wall. And the truck drivers and the workmen, they put it in their pocket. Somebody told him about it. He went over, that's my money. I own this building. Where's that money? Of course, the money was gone and dissipated, but he couldn't do nothing about it. People hid money in the wall. When he broke the place down, they could have died. The money came was like paper, like leaves falling off of a tree.
How about Burton? Tell me about Burton and Bessie. He was,
Well, you know, Burton lives in our house, Grandma's house, and Bess was very fond of him. And he'd come home from school and claim that there's a bully hitting him all the time. So I said, Bess, what are you going to do? Go and see his parents? He said, no, leave it to me. I'll straighten it out. So I said, what did you do? He said, I went over and I told the boy, listen, I'm going to give you a hamburger every day, and you watch my son. And we'll all go and have a hamburger sandwich. I want you to be my son's friend. So I said, he said, instead of fighting him, you join him. Buy him a hamburger and fries, and go watch him as a guard.
You never went to Mackinac Island, did you?
Yes, we did. We took a boat at the Tribune Tower, and Aaron made the arrangements. And we went to Mackinac Island. When we got off the boat, that boat was going to be decommissioned. It's going to be scrapped for $25,000. And the rooms were, Aaron had a stateroom, and I had a little tiny cubbyhole like a closet, and there was a bunk bed. I said, Jane, you get up on top so I can get in. I can't get in if you're standing up. It's such a small room. Anyway, we had a good time. The crew did a little entertaining, and we got off. There was a coachman with his horse and his high hat and his red tails, you know. Took us to Mackinac Island. Now, while we were there, Craig, was quite a kid, you know. Your father was paying the check, and he had to put his nose in the corner. And your father said, my son is only 4 years old. He said, no, I'm not, I'm 7. And he kept pushing his head down. Get down, get down.
Did you take a bike trip on
Yeah, we
Mackinac?
took 2 rides around 7 miles around the island. And we stopped there and said, do not drink this water. I didn't see the sign. I said, that must be good water coming out of the mountains. We started drinking the water, and your father saw it, and he got mad. You want to get typhoid fever? That sign says it's poison water. I want to tell another story. I wasn't there, but it was related to me that your father took you to the New York, in the mountains, New York mountains. It was winter. And one kid had a pee. And he stopped the car, and he got caught in the snowbanks. No help. And he stopped every car going by. And finally, one party stopped and put a chain and pulled him out. And your father wanted to pay him. He says, no money. I'm a 7-day Adventist. You do help somebody else that has a problem someday. And I said, he'd never stop again and let it keep pee in a snow blizzard. The thing I can relate about Harlan is that his grandmother, Pearl, came in from New York to watch him graduate from Oak Park High, and the principal says, if you don't get a haircut, you can't graduate. He says, this will be my diploma. I don't want to graduate this class anyway. And Matthew pleaded with him, please, cut a haircut. Your grandmother came all the ways in. She wants to see the ceremony. So from there, I can't remember.
From there, I will add to that story, because they said that Harlan had to cut his hair in order to be in the procession. And Harlan came home and told this to us. I didn't like his hair long, but I did not want anybody to dictate to us as to how we were supposed to raise the children or what we were to do. So Matthew said, well, he better get his hair cut because he's got to be in the procession. I said, oh, yes. I said, he can do it if he wants to, even though I don't like it, because he's not going to dictate. So I got on the telephone and I called, what was his name, Harlan? The dean? Whoever he was. And I went through the speech. You cannot tell us how our child should dress. You cannot dictate. You cannot be prejudiced. And if he's going to be in that procession and he's going to be dressed and clean and wear his suit or whatever he's supposed to wear, he'll march in that procession.
To Northwest,
Remember that tape,
he had a gook as a friend. His father was very wealthy, Ernie. And he lived in their place to cut down the oak. He put a tent up inside of the house and lived in the tent.
Ernie lived in the tent.
Joe, have you told the story about the bike? Dad riding on the bike in the freezing
Oh, yeah. So I'm driving past his house one day. It was about 10 below zero, all full of ice. And it's drive very slow. Who the hell's that on a bike in front of me? Harlan. I said, for Christ's sake, take that bike. You'll freeze your hands on the handlebars. For Christ's sake, it's 10 below zero and ice. He's going to go to school with the bike. 10 below zero. His face was red for the wind.
Joe, what about the time he contracted with Ernie to shovel the snow at Carlos' house around the corner?
He made a deal with head of the mafia. tell me.
Ricardo.
Carl.
Yeah, Arcado, Tony Arcado. He lived around the block.
Right.
And he had a circular drive, and it's on the corner. The guy's contracted for $15. So, after an hour or so, he called him in, gave some hot chocolate. He was nice in that way. So Harlan told me, he said, I think I would have asked him for more money. I said, he'd probably give it. He's a very wealthy man. So I said, Matthew says, I think I'll go over and help the kids shovel the snow. I feel sorry for the kids. They're freezing out there. The snow over your head. And Arcado says, when you contract with me, you stick to it. You get $15, not a penny more. That's Arcado.
He said you'll learn a lesson.
Yes, Aaron died. I went to the only one who went to the wake, Aaron's wake. I was shocked that Stone was there. Aaron buddies who used to go to Cubs Park. Jeff Platt and myself. The only Platt that she came up to, her name is Sharon or Karen or whatever. I said, Joe, I want to thank you very much for coming to my, it was a sealed casket. They didn't open the casket. I thought Leroy would be there, but he could have been out of town.
We were at.
We didn't know about it at all.
Then I
Because
want you
had
to know,
visited him.
I want you to know when he went, her sister was there with a chauffeur,
You work, answer.
Where I work, J.E. McCauley.
a bookkeeper.
There's music, like she sings.
In the movie business, they
Movie
were in
business.
the
15 years I was there.
What did you do?
Stenographer. Now I can't spell nothing.
Did you meet famous people?
Huh?
Did you meet Charlie Chaplin?
Oh, I met a lot of people.
Who'd you meet?
Oh, Dolores Del
Rio.
El Rio.
They wanted me to get my nose fixed. I had black hair,
Yeah.
and
Take a double for a jump across mountains.
Mr. Nelson said, "You're not going to get your nose figure fit right here."
Well, I had a nose
I
job.
wouldn't do it anyhow. But
I'll tell you
they
about
started
mine.
talking.
Let me tell you about my nose now. It bothered me. Kids called me eagle beak, parrot nose, and outwardly they didn't know that it bothered me, but inwardly it burned. I told him I want a nose job. I said, you got to wait till Matthew becomes a doctor. He'll get something for nothing. For nothing. I can't wait. The first year law, he got a hold of Dr. Schaefer and Penhale.
Not me.
They were partners at County Hospital. He said, yes, I went to the Pittsfield building at 5500 on Wabash. And I went in there and took a picture now, and they're going to take a picture after. And they laid me on the table, they injected cocaine and Novocaine in my nose, and they're operating, they're fighting. We should take out the bone. We'll come back the second time, we'll take out the bone. And let me out of this place already. He put a shield on my nose.
Sounds like Jackie Mason.
When I took that shield off, 2 months later, my nose was all full of blackheads. Blackheads under the shield. This is the product. There it is.
How did it used to
I
look?
could touch my nose with my tongue. I can't do it anymore. They raised
that?
They raised this part.
You could.
Maybe they
And
shortened
they
your
said
tongue.
that we want to put it right to go to your ear and take out cartilage.
Could have had a
Because
profession.
they claimed my nose wasn't formed. I used to fall on my nose like putty. I used to fall. I could never keep I couldn't walk until I was 5. I had rickets. I was running and falling, running
Why
and
did you
falling.
have
My brother
rickets?
said he never caught himself on his hands, on his nose. And one day I took one of those oranges to school and I started peeling it so it'd be ready for recess. And Daryl said, I'm going to tell the teacher you're peeling your orange. I can smell it. I said, I'll give you half. Half. I want it all. Take it all. In fact, so she won't tell the teacher.
Happened when you were
Jack
just a little boy.
was a very handsome fella, and he married Sally, and he had two children. Mentally, the family convinced him that he was insane. When he wanted to talk, he was strong. Strong as 2 horses. But when he would talk, they say, hey, don't talk, you're crazy. Don't talk, you're crazy. And it convinced him that he's crazy. They wouldn't let him talk. Sam was a smart guy, and Al went to college, IIT, and but they hated each other. Al and Jack hated each other. I saw on one occasion Jack took Al by the feet, held him like this, and shook him, and all Al's money and keys fell out of his pocket. They hated each other. 2 brothers hated each other. He had to run away. Jack had, because Al couldn't fight Jack. Jack was had iron, his muscles were iron band, been carrying ice on his back. Now Francis is dying, and I happen to be in California with my wife, and I call. And the kid answered, I like to talk to Al. Who is this? This is Joe Platt. Then his wife got on. Al, I said, he's the President of the United States, you gotta go through channels to get the hell, what the hell's so big about him? Finally got on. I said, I want you to know your sister's dying. And she asked me to give you a call. You've been an isolated man, you never cared about the family. They all thought that he got money now and somebody's gonna ask him for $1 or something like that. He says, you wanna meet me? I said, Al, I got a pocket full of money. You don't have to buy me no dinner. I only called to tell you the message that your sister is dying and she's been very good to you. Never responded. We had a picture of her father, Moses, where he worked in the railroad station. And he had the big iron wheels for the car. That was his work. He worked on the railroad. And he died a rather young man because I never saw the man in person. But we went to visit the wife, and he had a son, a handsome guy. He wasn't a real estate business. I think his name was Joe. But the girl, I can't remember her name. So we went in there, and they're right near Richfield University. They lived in a nice house.
On the south side?
Yeah, and the old lady was a quiet sort of a woman, so they entertained us with whistling. They played the piano and they whistled.
That was
Joe,
quite a sport.
okay,
Fred Egan. And he said, Joe, I got a surprise for you. What's the surprise? I said, I stopped off and visited Pearl, and Robin made me a breakfast. I fell in love with her cooking.
With her cooking?
Yeah, the cooking. I'm going to marry her. Fell in love with her cooking. Oh, yeah. He had the polo pony that he bought for $150 and all the tag. The man that owned that horse had a heart attack. And he bought all the equipment because he had other horses there. So he figured that he didn't want no one to handle his hunter that jumps. The father fell off many times, but he got back on and started jumping again. Buried like a millionaire at a cemetery on Highway 12. Memorial Park is beautiful up there. But the funeral was very cheap when you have a pine box.
That's an Orthodox
But
funeral.
that's right, George.
Orthodox.
That's my grandma.
You should say that, because, right, that's
Oh, that's
Orthodox.
like a park. I never saw a place like that in my
No,
life.
the box.
The box is
The box.
Orthodox.
Orthodox.
No handles, no nothing on it.
They weren't that Orthodox. They had no money.
My grandma was the
They had no money. Matthew was buried in an oak box. Oak. He picked that oak.
No, pine, I think.
That was oak. No, come on. Pine was
Oak?
crap. Sydney
But it had to be an all wooden
Sydney
box.
had an insurance
It
policy.
had to be an all wooden box.
45 years he paid insurance by the month. And he's dying at the hospital. Says, Joe, don't forget to pay my insurance or my life insurance. But the government, he had 10, he went down to 5. He couldn't afford to pay 10.
Then there was another time I was at Bobby Kelly's house,
With your ear,
and I fell down
a radiator.
on a radiator, and my ear fell off.
I got a phone call from his father. I can't leave the office. I'm very busy. Will you do me a favor? What is it? Go get Harlan. He's bleeding. So I took a big towel. We put it on. His ear was coming off. And he's bleeding in there. And he went to Dr. Castrovalla and gave him stitching. This Castrovalla is a plastic surgeon.
Was he a good doctor? I paid for rent.
Started at $30 a month. And it went up to about $35. I was a janitor in the building.
Really?
Sure, I cleaned the halls and washed the windows. I took care of the whole thing.
Was Eddie and Matthew?
And Eddie was a trickster. He put a rubber tube all in back of the laboratory, and he got some gases. And they put the gas in, it smelled like a fart.
Yeah.
And who the hell's farting around here? And he put in the gas in that
That's
tube.
hydrogen
In the
sulfide.
master's drawer. In the master's drawer.
Into his drawer.
7, 8 blocks from where we lived, there was a theater called Lamar Theater, and they had the Tarzan serials. And I remember that the previous serial that I seen was Tarzan was hanging from a tree and a large crocodile was trying to grab a hold of his foot. And then it said, come next week for the next episode. My father was reading The Jewish Career in his dry goods store, and I asked him for a dime so I could go and see the Tarzan serial. And he wasn't listening. He wouldn't pay any attention. And I start crying, I start yelling. He still couldn't hear. I know he could hear, but he wouldn't pay attention. And I got on the floor and I start crying and kicking my feet and created a great tantrum. And finally, after a half hour, he says, all right, go to the cash drawer and take your dime. So I went to the cash drawer. In those days, no electric, and I turned the big crank on the cash register. It was a big monstrosity, and opened it up. I never saw so much money in my life. Big, deep tills. It could have been $2 worth of pennies and $5 worth of nickels, at least $50 worth of change. And I took whatever I took, and I was going out. I said, Sonny, come over here. I want to see something. What is it? How much have you got in your hand? And I opened my hand, 10 cents. And all the ways to the theater, I whistled because I was honest and he trusted me. But I was very tempted to take a nickel, extra nickel for popcorn or ice cream. That was the greatest event in my life, to think that he gave me confidence and he trusted me to go to that drawer, and I know he took the dime. But today, if he would have went to the drawer, I'd probably hide a nickel in my pocket or in my mouth to get away with it. I went to high school. My mother was always concerned that I was hungry, and she packed my lunch. And she took 2 big slices of challah, must have been about 4 inches in thickness, and she put potatoes, mashed potatoes between it, and put it in the paper bag. And I was ashamed to eat that with the people in the group, because their mothers wrapped jelly in the peanut butter. They took the crust off. They put wax paper, and he had chocolate cookies with a pecan on, a Salerno cookie. And I went to the forest preserve to eat it. I thought it was snowing because all the flour was coming off of my sweater, so it wouldn't stick in the pan. And I started eating it. I started choking. I didn't have no liquid to swallow it, and I had to throw it away. They weren't poor. The idea was he invested money in mortgages, but they wouldn't have no toilet of our own.
You had no toilet.
I told my father, why do you invest money in mortgages? So he said, so people can improve their property. I said, how come you don't improve our property? We don't have a toilet. We got an outhouse. That's an investment when I give them the money on the mortgage, and I get interest. But this is a luxury. We're not ready for a luxury. You go outside and pee. Things were so high, so tough when we had to feed a big family that a quarter bought a whole breakfast. They sent me to the bakery to buy bakery goods. 2 cents a piece. A dozen was 24 cents, and my mother let me keep the penny to go to school and buy candy. The sweet rolls were that long, which some were filled with raspberries and custards and creams and stuff. And everybody had a sweet roll and a glass of milk or coffee. That's the reason why they gave us no allowance, because the allowance, they would buy a breakfast, 25 cents buys a breakfast for the whole family. Couldn't afford to give us allowance.
Did your mother?
17 years. He was a Schifferbacher, at the student of the Bible in Russia. And he ran out of the country. He went to it was a red curtain country, but they didn't have the red curtain as they had today. Anybody could get out. He went to South America and worked on the railroad. He got passage to the United States. And he hid his money in his shoe, and somebody stole his shoe. And he had to start all over again.
This was in South America they stole?
South America, yeah. That's right. And my mother came to this country with her father, and they couldn't afford to bring the whole family. So they put my mother to work at a sweatshop, sewing cuffs on pants, trying to get $1 down a half a week. She never went to first grade. She couldn't read or write.
Hi, everybody. This is my Uncle Joe. Known him a long time.